Let us meditate for about 5 minutes.
Today's affirmation is on even mindedness. The affirmation is from Affirmations for Self Healing by Swami Kriyananda. About even mindedness. Many people confuse progress with movement and with outward change. Thus, the more dust of excitement they can stir up, the more productive they feel they are. The more they get swept up into a happy mood when things go well, the better they imagine things have gone. And their answer to every slump is to cast about for some other thing to sweep them high once more. Such lives are like cars driven over deeply rutted roads. Their movement is almost as much up and down as it is forward. With even mindedness, progress is a straight, not a jagged line. Progress, however, should mean above all progressive understanding. Even mindedness bestows clarity of perception, which is the ability to see things as they really are, undistorted by emotional bias. Let's do the affirmation now. Let's speak it loudly first. I remain untouched by gain or loss.
I remain untouched by gain or loss.
In the calm mirror of my understanding,
In the calm mirror of my understanding,
I behold thy light reflected.
I behold thy reflected.
Now, in normal voice, I remain untouched by gain or loss.
I remain untouched by gain or loss.
In the calm mirror of my understanding,
In the calm mirror of my understanding,
I behold thy light reflected.
I behold thy light reflected.
Now, softly, I remain untouched by gain or loss.
I remain untouched by gain or loss.
In the calm mirror of my understanding, I behold thy light reflected. Now mentally, I remain untouched by gain or loss. In the calm mirror of my understanding, I behold thy light reflected. The prayer on even-mindedness is, when I rejoice, Lord, let it be with thee. And when I grieve, help me always to see thy sunlight through the mist.
Thank you. Reading from Meenakshi.
So today's reading is What is the Best Way to Pray, which is week 43 from Rays of One Light by Swami Kriyananda. So it goes, truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ and Sri Krishna both advised praying to God as personal, yet both emphasized also that God is above form, that he must be sought ultimately in infinity. As Jesus put it, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Yet he spoke of God constantly as our heavenly Father. In what is known as God's prayer, he proposed a very human prayer to Heavenly Father, asking fulfillment for all our spiritual needs. The Bhagavad Gita explains that man, living as he does in human body, finds it difficult to worship infinity as though the ego and body doesn't even exist. Far better for human beings, Krishna says, to work with reality as we know it's than to affirm a reality of which the human mind is incapable of forming any clear notion. Encouraging the devotee in this direction, he says, O Arjuna, be thou a yogi. That is to say, be one who works with, not in rejections of, the energies of the body and natural tendencies of the mind. In the 12th chapter of Gita, Arjuna says, those who ever steadfast worship thee as devotees, that is to say, in an I and thou relationship, and those who contemplate thee as the immortal, unmanifested spirit, which group is the better versed in yoga. The blessed Lord replied, those who, fixing their minds on me, adore me, ever united to me through supreme devotion, are in my eyes the perfect knowers of yoga. Those whose strict aim is union with the unmanifested choose a more difficult way. Arduous for embodied beings is the path of dedication to the Absolute, the path, that is to say, the Jnana Yoga. Thus, through the Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Thank you, Meenakshi and Monica. So we start now today with the topic of today is, why are we here? Usually with me, whatever thoughts are running in my mind or whatever the phase of my life at that time is occupying my mind, I like to share that. So today is more than a satsang, it's just a sharing that what is going through, and probably it may be going through the minds and hearts of many other people also. The question arises that why are we on the path? Why are we in this world? Why do we keep coming back and back again? Are we learning some things from these repeated coming back to the world and going through the so many different incarnations, starting from the amoeba, which takes about 8 to 10 million lives before we become human beings? And after becoming human beings, what are we doing? Again, after becoming human beings, we go through the different stages, the lower consciousness, the tamasic, who wants to sleep all the time, or rajasic, or sattvic. Different. It's a mixture of many things which are happening in our lives. And that mix of different things, where are we? Are we conscious? Are we aware? Or we are just existing? I'm a student, I'm studying, I work in the office, in the IT company, so I'm doing the maximum productivity, and I'm taking care of the children, the family. Great job. Yes, we are doing. But are we doing something beyond that? Are we looking at the purpose? Why are we here? Are we reminding ourselves now and then, why are we here? Day in, day out, incarnation and in and out, just keep doing the same thing? No, there is a higher purpose. There is a higher reason. So I'll make an attempt to kind of share some thoughts, but it is more about to trigger everyone here to reflect and reflect about their own journey. So I'd like to begin some thoughts of Swami Paramhans Yoganandji. Some things here and then will come in from Swami Kriyanand, all combined thoughts. So Paramhans Yoganandji said, this world is not a kingdom of heaven. It is a school to learn to live our outer lives, learn how to conduct our outer duties, and remember, whatever outer duties and the responsibilities we have, they are part of our spiritual discipline. If we do it in harmony with the cosmic laws, if we live our lives, outer lives and inner lives, as per the cosmic laws, lives are much more beautiful, smooth, and we enjoy living. Lesser moments of suffering and larger moments of joy and happiness. Master said, the spiritual and the material duties should be brought together as two stallions of a cart. Visualize two black stallions, beautiful ones, healthy ones, pulling a cart smoothly. And those two stallions are our spiritual duties and our worldly duties. But we are bringing them together in harmony. One is not running this way and the other is not running that way. They are working together. And that's one of the purposes. There's a very interesting story which is shared by the direct disciple of Paramhans Yoganandji. His name is Brother Anandamoy from SRF. He says when he was a young boy in Switzerland, he had a deep spiritual inclination, and he didn't know where to find the satisfaction and how to progress on the path. He came to know of a world-renowned architect, Franco Lloyd Wright in America, who took on architect students. So he went to America to learn under him. And every Sunday morning, it used to be like a church thing. Everybody used to get together and thus open their hearts and share their aspirations of life. They could be work related, they could be about inner life, about anything. It was like a church meeting. It's like a gathering. All of us are sitting here and kind of feeling in our heart what we want to expand in our lives. So one of the students in the class one day said to Franco, who was the head there, that what if I don't make it in this life as an architect? So Franco said, no problem, come back again and do it again. That made Brother Anandmoy feel that Franco believes in reincarnation. And Brother Anandmoy by then had read some books of Paramhans Yogananji, Autobiography of a Yogi and Science of Religion. So he was familiar with the thought that no matter what pinnacle and heights of fame we reach, but there is still a core of us which is unsatisfied, which is looking for more. And he wondered in his own mind as a young kid of 17 years, and he was in the presence of Franco, who was 80, at the pinnacle, at the height of his success, height of his health, and universities sending him degrees after degrees, a very celebrated celebrity. And he wondered, and he said, like a hawk, I watched him. Is he happy? And one day he said it. And he said, Franco, the architect, said, still frustrated. Still frustrated. He said, that was the greatest moment, expression of learning for me, Brother Anandmoy said. He said, in that moment, he said, I realized no matter how high your material achievements are, there is something in you which is looking for more and which is not getting satisfied with everything that Franco has. In his mind, another scenario emerged. He was a spiritual soul, so he used to read Brother Anandamoy. And in that other scenario was of an Italian painter, Bertolini. He had heard about him that Bertolini, when he painted, his eyes will flow tears. His heart was filled with devotion. He was lost to the world. He lived in pure inner joy. And his mind was looking at the two situations. Highest of the material world, Franco, I guess, a very advanced level of the spiritual. What makes them like this? How are they like this? And then he came to realize, Bertinelli, whatever work he did it as an offering to divine. And this is how we all need to learn to spiritualize our outer world, our lives. It doesn't matter what we do. If you look at the saints of various centuries, we find them in any possible occupation. We will find them as king, as beggar. We will find them as householders. We will find them as monastics. Different lifestyles. The realization came, it was not the outer world that made them the saints. It was not the outer world. It was their inner attainment. Why are we here? We are here to do our responsibilities, what we are supposed to do. Paramhans Yogananji always said that our householder responsibilities or the responsibilities that we have are prime. But at the same time, be aware of the fact that we rise in our consciousness by doing our duties, at the same time awakening our inner world. Don't forget about the inner world. It's very much alive, kicking within ourselves. We can choose to ignore it, but it exists. It's there. is our own, is our own private journey. We are living in a family, and the family with every incarnation changes. But me, myself, my soul, my spark, everyone's spark here is their own responsibility. Be aware and work towards awakening it more. It is very simple. Most people work for ego satisfaction. I, more money for myself, bigger house for myself, bigger car for myself, a beautiful spouse, lovely children, and things go on. The list goes on. But do whatever you have to do, but once in a while, inwardly offer everything that you do to God. If you say, I do this for you, you spiritualize your actions, whatever you are doing. There's another scenario that I want to share with you today is there was a lady who was also like Brother Anandamoy from Switzerland. Her name was Elizabeth Ross. She was a psychologist and she made it her life's mission to work with the people who were terminally sick, helping them, counseling them, encouraging them to live their lives at the same time, observing them, studying them, and she wrote books. She said a very remarkable thing, a very remarkable thing. She says, you think the strongest instinct of a human being is the self preservation. Not only in human beings, but in animals and plants, she said, the greatest fear is the fear of death. She said, then something worse is there which we probably are not aware of, and that is the feeling that comes to the people because she was dealing with the people who were terminally ill, is the feeling that comes at the end of the life that I have not really lived. A hollow feeling. I have not really lived. They feel and they come to this realization that I came to the world to accomplish things. Accomplish things in career, in family, but when the end of the life comes, they find the missions, they start thinking, I have not really lived. What is it that they're looking for? What is this? What is it that is making them feel hollow towards the end of their life? And probably during the life, but they chose to ignore it. And the feeling became very significant towards the latter part of the life when the deeper thoughts and deeper thinking was coming. But they didn't know what the deeper thinking is because he said, this was this, and what was missing? It was the spiritual dimension which was totally neglected. So the point arises once again, why are we here? I'm so grateful to say that the people who are here in the session today are the people are giving attention to this thought that why are we here, and that is why many of the people here are Kriyabans, or they're on the path, or they are evaluating to be here, to rise in their spiritual journey. The point here, friend, is let us not be here in this world for the sake of incarnations and reincarnations, but to think there is a thought behind it. Why are we here? Rather than later start analyzing, introspecting on that thought. Why are we here? Do we want to be in the camp of Franco? Do we want to be in the camp of Bertolini? Or we want to find a midway, but with full awareness that we have this life, the material life, the outer world, which is our responsibility, but we have an inner life, which Swami Yoganand said, most of the people who do not come on the path, the inner life is lying paralyzed. I am sure I can say with absolute 100% conviction the people on the screen are not where they're inner lives are paralyzed. They are fully into it. Now, our inner lives are not paralyzed, but we are intelligent people. Let us think that what can we do to bring a higher awareness? What can we do to give more energy to the thought, to the mission? Why are we here? The principle of Sanatan Dharma says we will be ever unfulfilled until we return to our origin. And what is our origin? Our origin is our Creator, Divine Mother. When I say these things, it just makes me definitely say to you that many of us have progressed and progressed a little more, but at the same time, remember, I am saying these words that we need to return to our origin, nowhere. I'm including myself, all are work in progress. We are all striving. We are learning what can we do that we can do a better job of it. So when we're in the path of the Kriya Yoga and over the 18, 19 years that I've been here, mostly the practice emphasizes meditation, more meditation and be a good human being. These are two important things, Seva, Satsang and Sadhana, 3 S's of Paramahansa Yogananji. So these things we are practicing. But of late, something is really attracting my heart and mind, which also I want to share with you because you're my buddies. Where else will I share? Where else they will understand that I'm trying to say? If I sit down and start talking these things in the world, people of the world, some may get it to some extent, but the people here will get it, what I'm saying. And I'm sure everyone's heart wants to move in that direction. So, if we pay attention, gradually we discover that there are certain rules, there are certain cosmic laws. Living by them will bring us greater happiness. We want to be happy and we want to avoid misery, suffering. There are cosmic laws, friends, we see them here and there. And whenever you feel here is a cosmic law which will help me to live a better, happier life, grab it. Write it somewhere with you. Share it in the satsangs when they're happening. Because we have to live our lives more and more as per the cosmic divine laws. We may believe in our heart of hearts that having a fancy car will reduce my pain and bring me happiness. We can think that if I take away that person's money, not so much applicable to the group here, but it's part my talk, so I'll say it now. So we may think that if I take this person's money and bring it to use to myself, it will give me more joy and it will reduce my suffering, my pain. Maybe I can have a bigger home. To have a wonderful spouse, a wonderful home, and raise good children will bring me happiness and joy. In the short term, all these things are true. In the short term, a bigger house, car, children, spouse, everything gives us happiness. Everything. But remember, all these joys are short-term applicable. With every incarnation, each of these things that are giving us joy, or maybe a temporary joy for this lifetime, will change in the next life, and we start from the scratch. We start from the scratch from the point that we leave this life and we are reborn. We reborn from where we live our lives here. So, as we make progress towards the final stage of realization, not really final, we are a work in progress. If the start point is here and the end is here, we are somewhere here, and we keep progressing and we reach there. But we have to keep climbing. We have to keep moving. We can't go this way. There's no choice. Paramahansa Yoganandaji doesn't give us that option. Move, 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 move. Awake and ready. That's his dictum. And we are his followers. That's our dictum too. So we experiment more and more subtle levels that what causes as we advance, we experiment what gives me longer lasting happiness and less of suffering. Shorter things we know, but what are those cosmic laws which will give me longer lasting happiness? It does not lie in having a wonderful husband or wife. It doesn't lie in happy homes or beautiful children. They will, of course, they will not make us unhappy, they will make us happy. But the human heart responds wonderfully to love, beauty, kindness, and humility whenever it is expressed. The cosmic law says, here is an important cosmic law. Try to understand. Maybe many of you know it, but somewhere write it down later after the satsang. We learn certain amount more from the desires thwarted, desires unfulfilled. But we learn, I think I've said it not correct. We learn certain amount more from having our desires thwarted, but we learn more from having our desires fulfilled. I always thought that I learn more when the desires are not fulfilled, and then I think it's not worth it. No, here the cosmic law says that we learn more not from the desires thwarted, but we learn more from the desires fulfilled. We learn more from the desires fulfilled. And here is the analysis for it. A lot of these thoughts are coming from Ashaji's talks, so my gratitude to her. Here is the interesting explanation of why we say that we learn more from the desires fulfilled. When we longed for certain thing for a long time, maybe for many incarnations, and finally it comes to us. We get to find out just then, that time, that just how much happiness that thing is giving me or giving me when I achieved it. When I didn't have that thing, I longed for it because I didn't know how happy it is going to make me. But when I got that thing, I came to realize what is the quantum of happiness I get from that thing. And then the realization comes that this is the quantum of happiness I got, and that happiness in my millions of incarnations lasted in one incarnation, half an incarnation, or quarter of an incarnation. Was it really worth it to long for it for so much and have that desire fulfilled? Friends, some of you who can put on your videos, it will be nice to have your energies, your eyes focusing. It gives higher magnetism. Put on your videos, friends, come on. So, the realization comes that life after life, we want more money, talent, respect, company of the good people, but how much happiness is it giving me, and for how long? So when this thought comes to us, the point again arises that the desires fulfilled give us more understanding towards the spiritual journey. How mindlessly we keep craving for things. I have done the same thing in the corporate world, friends. I'm no better. For 20, 25 years, same thing, higher positions, more money, more whatever. When you meet your quota, whatever you get, commissions, blah and blah. I feel sad, but nobody came in to tell me this. So when I realize it, I'm up here. They say the bliss or the knowledge can never be contained. The moment something hits home, You want to tell all your buddies that here it is. Practice it, try it out. Each desire that we have, in your mind, evaluate how much efforts you're applying for that, and then later when you get it, really with an honest mind, see how much joy it gave, the quantum of the joy and the duration of the joy. And then start applying your energies again, whichever path you're moving to. So, gradually the realization comes that the car has no capacity to give me happiness. It is entirely dependent on myself to make myself happy. There is nothing coming from the car. There's nothing coming from the house. It can give me happiness for a limited time, limited quantum. The happiness is given to myself by right principles. Do you get it? If you get it, just raise your hand so that I have more energy to share some more cosmic laws. Thank you. Now, let's move forward. That's one thing. Remember, in your heart, desires fulfilled teach us more. Everything that lasts is in God's realization, moving towards the realities. So we learn more from our desires, thought it, but we learn much more having our desires fulfilled, because we can say, this is wonderful, but there is more. Saint Augustine put it perfectly when he said, we were made for thee alone, and our hearts are restless until they find their rest in thee. That's the goal, find rest in thee. But I can tell you, with little experience of mine, even 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step, each step gives us joy. And higher level of joy. Not a joy of eating an ice cream, but a joy of much more higher purity. A joy that you can't contain. The joy, if you experience the whole day, it lasts with you. Your meditation is automatically deeper when you have practiced cosmic laws. The reason why we are here, why we are born to be able to see the veil of delusion that makes us to believe that the outer world is the real world, and that we are makes us unaware of the inner world. We are here to be aware. It is the delusion which is driving us to the material world, and it is not letting us go inward and see the real inner world. Fame, position, everything is fine. But it is such a huge delusion. It takes us away from our inner life. Be aware of this fact. The reason of suffering is that we are not cooperating with the cosmic laws. It gradually occurs to us. The source of happiness and security is not in the world outside, it is in the world within me. What are karmas? Karmas are lessons unlearned. We keep facing again and again the same karmas. Why? Because we have not learned the lesson that the Divine Mother is sending us to learn. And she says, unless you learn it, it will keep on coming to us. And that is why we may say, such difficulties, challenges, tests are coming to me. Divine Mother doesn't love me. Well, number one, we created it by our own karmas. And number two, we alone can extinguish it by doing the right karma. So always remember, these karmas, tests are lessons unlearned. And she is bringing it to you again and again because you haven't learned it. I haven't learned it. We will learn in life that our goal of being happy is more fulfilled when we live in conformance with the spiritual laws. There are subtle spiritual laws. We hear them in our inner world, but we many a times choose to ignore them. They will come back again. We have our battles against our habits, attitudes, which are pulling us back. At the same time, we are here to learn that we have to move away from these habits. There's a quote of Swami Kriyanand, which I love and I want to share. He says, "We should sift mentally through our personal habits and not continue unthinkingly in old patterns of behavior merely because of some prior momentum that has been established in our lives." There was a need to have that habit when I was a kid of 15. Today, 35, 45, 55, whatever. Do I still need to have that habit, that momentum that I created at that age? Do I want to continue to live in the same mold? We need to reflect, introspect. So many of our habits not needed, drop them. I'm saying drop them. I know it and I subscribe to it. Not easy to drop, but work on it. But first, figure out what are the things we need to change. So now, progression of consciousness is when we begin to understand that the causes of sufferings and what brings lasting happiness. We start thinking, what are those things which will give me lasting happiness? I have to take a decision. One is more worldly, one is more spiritual, and I think if I take the spiritual decision, it will give me longer happiness. Let's take a scenario of the world where I worked for 25 years. If whatever commissions were coming to everybody, and I as let's say the senior partner there, would have thought of more, that give it to more who needs it more, not really just applying the rule that how much business you got, maybe there would have been a greater happiness, greater joy. Swami Yoganand has said, I think I've shared the story, but very briefly now, that when he was a child, he enjoyed food, treats, so his mother made him treats, but she always said that you share it with somebody else before eating it yourself. I shared, and as a kid of 5, he would think, oh my God, I love it so much, my mother doesn't love me enough, that's why she's telling me to give it to others and they will eat it. What if they finish the whole thing and nothing is left for me? But as a kid, he gave it a higher thought and higher thought and higher thought. And he came to realize when he shared it with the others, and then he looked into the eyes of the people, the joy that he saw, the joy was much greater than the joy if he ate the whole thing himself. That's the second cosmic law. And practice it. The joy that we experience on the faces of the people when we have given something to them is far greater when we share it and give it to them. The joy that we experience by looking into the eyes and the faces of the people when they receive that, than if I had kept the whole thing to myself. And I know each one of you here has experienced it. But apply this rule much more often in your lives. Much more. Whenever you get an opportunity. As I'm sitting with a thing, should I spend this money on myself or give it to somebody who needs it? Just you're weighing, give it away, finally. That blessings and the joy of the person are with you, following you everywhere you have given it, done it, but you don't do it with that thought, you do it with the thought that I experience joy and sharing. That's the second or third cosmic law. Practice them. They're very nice to hear, but they're more beautiful when we practice them. So there's one more principle that I want to share is, I can always control how I respond to the situations, although I cannot change the situation. That's another cosmic law. Things around me are not flawless. There are flawed energy around me. And energy around me, I cannot do much about. I cannot change people, but I can change myself. So, in difficult, challenging situations, apply the cosmic law. What am I supposed to do? What ought I to do? What can I do? Just do your bit and move on. There's a very important rule. Suffering causes us to change. Suffering causes us to change. Just listen to it carefully. I heard about it 4 5 days back, and I've been thinking. And I said it must come to this satsang today. So, suffering causes us to change. We change when we realize that the pain of suffering is greater than the change, effort involved to bring about the change. Listen to it again. We change. We bring about a change in our lives. We delay the change, huh? But we are pushed to a corner to bring about the change. And when that thing happens, we change when we realize that the pain of suffering is greater than the change required to bring that change. Do you get it? A person is diabetic, go on eating the sweet, doesn't matter. I enjoy the sweet I'm eating. My sugar level is going up, going up, going up. When the sugar level goes so high that it makes me bedridden, then I realize that I need to change, because to eat less sweet is a lesser pain than to be on the bed suffering. I'll just say it once again. We change when we realize that the pain of suffering is greater than the change involved in bringing about that change. So, friends, these are some of the thoughts which are presently occupying my mind, and I thought I'll share it here. So, the cosmic law Paramahans Yogananji says that a wonderful feeling arises in our hearts when we live with the cosmic laws. None of us are saints here, but as we learn of good things, hear them and let them go out. No, somewhere make a note and just put it somewhere that you go back to read it sometimes. Go back, there are reminders in your lives. So I'd like to conclude here that introspect on the thought, why are we here? We are here, and what is the purpose of reincarnation? To evolve. Apart from meditation techniques, abide by the cosmic principles to live a higher and a more joyful life. So that's what it is.
So much, Vibhaji. That's really, really wonderful, and it's beautiful sharings and keeping our spirits up. So thank you so much.
Any thoughts? Anybody wants to say? Neeraj Bhai, any thoughts?
No, I feel grateful that I got this opportunity to uh, go through the flow that you indicated, and it has created a lot of thoughts of introspection. As you indicated, keep introspecting on the purpose of our life, why we are here. And some of the pointers that you've given are very, very pertinent. We change when we realize that pain to effect that change is not that much as compared to suffering that pain that we have. So that is really something, one of my strong takes from what you shared today. Thank you and my gratitude.
Preeti. Preeti wasn't expecting to be on the spot.
Jai Guru, ma'am.
Jai Guru.
Ma'am, the cosmic laws that you shared, they are like wonderful and giving a meaning to the life, actually. I earlier also heard you sharing in one of the class saying that the lessons you learn are more from the fulfilled desires. And that's so true, sir, ma'am. I have been practicing this thought. and the one you shared about the suffering and the efforts, that also has given a new meaning, and I'll try to imbibe that also in my life. Thank you so much.
Anyway, so I think the time is up. Sandhya ji, we have time. We time up. Otherwise, we can continue the sharing, or we can, if you have other
We
things to
can
do.
be here. It's fine. It's fine. We do have time. I mean, like, if anyone
Okay.
wants to share anything.
So
I just want to say
one, and I know. Sorry, somebody wanted to. Yes, please.
yes, I wanted to say
Meenakshi
something.
first.
Thank
Meenakshi.
you
Oh, yes,
for
I
such
love
a
to hear you, Meenakshi.
Thank you for such a beautiful satsang. Whatever, like all the laws that you shared today, I think all of us have heard somewhere, sometime in our lives. But just saying it and, putting it on the spot and just putting so much of light, saying it with so much of conviction, I think it has also, you know, brought in a lot of things back and brought in a lot of questions again. So thank you so much for bringing, all these laws back to us, which I think we had forgotten it somewhere. But thank you so much.
Mhm. It also reminded me,
Yeah,
Yogananda ji said, pain is the prod to change. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Pain is the prod to
So,
change.
for the change, yeah, to
Yeah,
change,
yeah.
for the change. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Very, very nice.
Yeah. Shall I go? Can you hear me?
Yes, I love to.
Please. Yeah.
So the first thought which you shared, desired, fulfilled, teaches more. First, I was completely surprised. Am I listening right? Because till now it was opposite of that. Your failures teaches you. So got more insight about this. And the second law which you shared about sharing. So yesterday I did some like watch which was mine. I took something less of it, and I was just wondering, did I did right? Is it ethical or what, something like that was going, and indirectly or directly I could say you have answered that question of mine. Thank you very much. Very insightful session. Thank you.
So we are, yes, and Anshuman, share something.
Yeah, Jai Guru ma'am. It's always amazing to listen to you, and a lot of food for thought for me in this session. And like you talked about cosmic law, learning more when desires are fulfilled. So that is one thought which is a takeaway for me. Also, going into the inner world, and then karmas are lesson unlearned. Similarly, the importance of introspection and analysis and journaling. So probably more every day. I plan to introspect and see if the Kauravas are dominant or if the Pandavas are there. So and what brings lasting happiness. I think one point you mentioned about that Guruji says that the situations are neutral. So it's the meaning what we give to them. So how we desire to, how we choose to respond is what is important, and also that we cannot change others, but we can change ourselves. So I think a lot of takeaways, and one main takeaway for me is the living with the cosmic laws. So what is the purpose of our reincarnation, and abiding by the cosmic principles. So I think some more introspection and maybe a follow-up session with you, maybe sometime in the future, will be helpful with more cosmic laws
Yeah.
and the joy of sharing.
Yes, we'll tell Sandhya to organize it after some time. We'll come up with some new laws.
And
Not created by
Have a
me, but
workshop.
and thank you so much, ma'am, for your efforts. And it's always nice connecting with you, ma'am. Thank you. Jai Guru.
So, Vanan, I'm not going to let you go without having you speak. So now put on your. Vanan is from Singapore Center. He's the center leader there. And so if you can't put on your video because I know you're traveling, say something.
Thanks, Vibhaji. I cannot turn on the video because I'm not wearing a shirt. Actually, it's a very hot day, and if I
Can't
turn
you grab?
on, then
Can't you grab one?
the lighting and all that, and
Okay, I understand. Oh yeah, the timings. Okay.
see my body, then I'll be looking the sense pleasure. So anyway, jokes aside, regarding the change, the suffering, I understand because I have one of my friend who's a heavy smoker, So I told him to stop smoking to the point where he got very angry with me and he said, let's cut off the friendship because you're controlling me, you know. And so eventually he's going to find out the hard way, and and a few of my other friends are also smoking very heavily, and I'm trying to advise them. What happens eventually is they're going to get down with cancer or whatever, and then they have to uh, stop anyway, right? But then it will be too late, you know. So yeah, I understand what you say exactly, but my friends don't understand that.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know how
takes
to
time.
explain to them. Yeah,
Yeah, it takes time. It's not easy. It's not easy to change a habit.
yeah, yes.
True. Thank you, Anand. So is now if somebody wants to volunteer from Hyderabad Center or anybody, please do
I
share.
think Dr. Kanishka, I think she
Yeah,
raised.
doctor. I was looking for her and she went in my screen, she went to one corner and I couldn't see her. Yes. Yes, Kanishka.
Jai Guru to the whole spiritual family. All I want to thank you for such a calm, peaceful session. We meet any member of Sun. This is the first thing to reinforce in us to be calm, to be fully with the word. The every is that that is first I learned to to look forward to that, have that maybe blessings of Guru and will get that. In this session. So good to hear the losses again. And was that because in the past few days I was just feeling like to give whatever I have, this and that. Matlab, I was just having that feeling. And then I was questioning it that am I being more to give away even what I liked. So, but today, sometimes you feel like crossing your boundaries or you're feeling unnecessarily this and that also. But it's really beautiful, even while we're eating, to share something which we really liked with others. That's nice. And I would like to understand more about, I mean, in next session, that how fulfill desires they teach us more with the examples, because that I'm still understanding bit by bit. But thank you. It was very insightful session. Thank you to all those that and all the spiritual there to motivate us to be there all the time. Thank you, ma'am.
So somebody,
Vivaji, something to share.
yeah.
Yesterday, I was traveling back from Malaysia to Singapore, and with me was another guy, and suddenly the topic became spiritual. So you are the Catholic, and so this intellectual exchange took place, and I mean, it's very easy to talk to Kriyabans. Everybody will agree. But now I had to put all my skills to try to convince that person. He was very adamant, saying that no, only live once, and he put forward his theory. I put forward my theory. It is really um, it was a challenge for me yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he kind of I think he kind of started wondering. I think I at least managed to kind of put some thoughts into him, and he started thinking about it. Perhaps there is a rebirth. Yeah, that's
Good.
great.
Yeah, yeah. At least he may not accept it, but he will think about it.
Yeah. So I quoted verses from the Bible and everything, and he said, "Oh, you all actually took from our Bible all these things in your yoga sessions." He says, "I say no, no, no. This already existed a long time ago." I just pointing to him that is the same. Christianity points the same way. I was looking for a similarity, but he's looking for differences. Yeah. And then finally he said, "Do you accept Christ is the Son of God?" I said, "Son of God or only Son of God?" I said, if son of God, I agree because all of us sons of God, but only I don't agree. I told him. It's really was challenging for me, seriously. But anyway, we had almost about a 1 hour session. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very interesting. Yeah, very interesting, Vanan.
While waiting for the flight. So
Interacting. It's really a pleasure. Vibha, do you want to offer a healing prayers?
Sandhya, why don't you go ahead and do it?
Okay. Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
Thou art omnipresent,
Thou art omnipresent,
Thou art in all Thy children,
Thou art in all Thy children,
manifest Thy healing presence
manifest Thy healing presence
in all bodies,
in all bodies,
in all minds,
in all minds,
in all souls.
in all souls.